All right, I'm on hole number 7 of the Silver State Tournament. I'm in Wednesday's qualifying round in the Rookie Division. Let's go to Golf Class Notebook and check it out. Uploading videos as I go along. If you're watching these videos and you're like, dude, you're hitting real flat. I'm hitting right where I want to be, actually. I don't like to go in. If you've played this game for a long time, I've had a lot of times where you come into the qualifying round and the opening round and you're just blowing it out of the park. And then you get flat in the weekend round, and I'd rather come in flat and pick it up as the week goes on and start to dial it in, but I feel real good about where I'm at, and I love these holes. So, alright, I'm going at it from over here. Now the wind's blowing. I tell you, I'm not a big fan of doing the rough bump here, but the wind, I believe, is blowing this direction. So if you're doing the rough bump, the wind's actually kind of blowing the right way for you. What you don't want to do when you're doing the rough bump is if you've got headwind or tailwind, because if you don't make an absolutely perfect adjustment, you're sunk. But with a side wind doing a rough bump like this, that's not a bad deal. But you have to make a really good wind adjustment when you're down in that hole. And what I don't like is when you start pulling your ball guide over sand, it responds different. So if you can make the wind adjustment and still stay down here where you're not digging out into the sand, I think, the rough bump here with the way the wind's blowing isn't a bad deal. But when you're over here and then you're trying to bounce it over, you can still get right on it. What I don't want to do is end up right in the sand in front of it. I don't really like taking rough bumps. I like rough bumps a lot, but in that spot, I need to bring a ball with some side spin. I'm going to bring a katana. All right, I think I got it. Off to hole number 7. You could do this with a quasar, the 3 side spin. You can get right up on the hole, and then it boils down to making good wind adjustments. And I'm going to do a full wind adjustment, a 1.2. I think I'm more in like mid club, but I've made the mid club adjustment and it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to. And I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment as well. So I'm going to do a max number on my backbone, which is 1.2 per ring, and I'm going to add on 10% to the wind. And I want to be about 3 rings off of this transitional surface down here. So my opponent's doing the rough bump. They've got a little teeny bit of headwind, and that was nonchalant. I think for people who are doing rough bumps in those tight areas, I think my opponent will be alright. That you're much better off if you know how to do the wind ring method, because you can be a lot more exact. Because if you're off just a little bit, a ring right there, it's a big deal. 3 rings off. About 2.5 rings off. Let's get me right towards the hole. It takes a little bit of an irregular bounce there. So 1.2, there's 3, 6. That leaves me 4, 5, 6, 7. That's about 3.5 rings, and I'm going to add on 10%. So I'm going to go just a little shy of 4 rings. I definitely want to just hit it straight. Hitting it perfect, that'll give me an idea of whether that adjustment's getting me a little teeny. If I'd have just been rubbing up against the nubs right there, that would have put me right on the hole. But I like the adjustment of doing the 1.2 and the 10%. And then I need to make a note here to rub the nubs for curl. You're not really putting any curl on it. You're just making sure when you're rubbing up against the right hand nubs there, you're just making sure that the ball is when it bounces, it wants to go to the right. And I have no idea what Golf Clash, what they call those, what Playdemic calls those, but I call them the nubs on that. I will forfeit. Alright, that was hole number 7 of the Silver State Tournament and Wednesday's qualifying round of the Rookie Division. Thanks for watching.